All right, y'all, finally did it. Ever since 3D printers first came out back years ago, consumer 3D printers, I should say. I've been eyeing them, wanting to get one, but the horror stories of having to tinker with the hardware and then also know the software and all that stuff put me off for all these years until now. This A1 Mini by Bambu Lab. Oh man, this thing is literally out of the box functionality. Plug and play. There's nothing more plug and play than this. It's been great for a 3D like absolute newbie. Never touched a 3D program before. Never touched 3D anything. I've always been a 2D guy. I've always worked with things like Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Never done anything with any sort of slicer or 3D program. Yeah, so I just wanted to create this video and say that this thing has been awesome. I've been printing for 3 days and I'm a complete newbie. Like literally it's like open a box, plug it in, throw some files in it, and it'll just print. It's just no hassle at all. So yeah, right now I'm printing some parts for my Nerf blaster I want to make in this Ryobi greenish color. It's Overture PETG. PETG is one of the materials that this printer can work with. There's also a more popular PLA, but PETG supposedly is quote unquote stronger because it flexes before it actually breaks, whereas PLA kind of just breaks. There's no flexing, but both materials are strong. Anyways, yeah, it's really easy. I literally open up the Bambu software on my computer, throw in some STL files. STL files are the 3D files that most people, I guess, export in. I don't know. Throw in some STL files, you press that slice button, and then you press print. You'll know what I'm talking about when if you ever get this and open up the software. Or I think you could just download the software. You don't even need this machine. You can play around with it. Send it to the printer wirelessly, and I think it downloads onto its little SD card here, this little micro SD card here, and then it just goes. Yeah, no fuss at all. It's been awesome. And on this little screen, it's kind of cool. It's a touch screen too. It tells you it's finished 30%. It's got 2 hours and 10 minutes left. Wireless signal. Got a little camera. The little camera is right here. Got a little black hole there. It's not. I don't know. It's not really useful, but it just allows you to help check on your prints every now and then. It's really choppy, so it's not like some time-lapse video quality or anything like that. But it just checks on your prints while you're away and make sure everything is still together, you know. Because sometimes 3D printers have the tendency to just not adhere to the base or not adhere to the previous layer, and all of a sudden you got this spool of like yarn, like junk pretty much, and you have to stop the print and start over. So that camera helps you track that. So what else is on the screen? 70 degrees C is the temperature of this bed thing, this little golden bed. 255 is the extruder temperature, so I think it's that caution hot in there, melting the plastic filament that's going through this tube, this gray tube here. So that's what's on the screen. It's pretty cool. It's a little touch screen, and you can kind of go through and set your settings and whatever it is. Yeah, you can control, well, I don't know, I've never tried yet, but you can look at videos, the video feed through your phone, the phone app. You can see the percentage, the time left. You could select, you can go through, I think it's called the Maker World or whatever, of 3D files that other people are printing, and I think you could print from there. I'm not sure, I've never tried doing it from the phone, but I've always done it through my computer. Yeah, so it's been great. So I've been printing PETG stuff for my Nerf blaster, and then some trains that my kids like in the colors I have. What else? Yeah, so again, complete noob. I'm a complete newbie. I know nothing about 3D, and this has been literally out of the box functional, plug and play. So I've used that Overture obviously to no problems. eSun, absolutely no problems. These are printed with the eSun PETG, these blue parts. I have a few more boxes of Sunlu. I don't expect any issues with this either, but I haven't printed with that yet. Those are black and white that I have. So I only have a few colors right now. I think that's probably all I'll need. I'll probably end up just kind of, if I need to change color, I'll just buy some spray paint and change the colors from there. People say that PETG doesn't like paint, but we'll see. I think it should be okay, as long as the prep work is done right. So yeah, again, this, never touched a 3D anything before, and this is out of the box awesome. Completely for beginners, and even if you're not a beginner, this is a great, I mean, I've been printing for 3 days, so it's been good. You can also get the AMS system. You see all these little 4 holes up here. It's like another system where it can print multicolor, so you can have 4 spools of different colors loaded, and they'll select whatever color is coming up next to print, so you don't have to, you know, swap this out and then put a new one. But I don't. Maybe down the line I'll get one. I don't know. I don't see any use for me right now. Single color is the way to go for me right now. What else? Cleaning the bed. I don't know. I haven't had any adhesion issues. I had to wipe it down a little bit with isopropyl alcohol. Excuse me. Isopropyl alcohol a little bit, just to spot clean it. But I do have the Dawn dish detergent that people always recommend, that I'll give it a full wash at some point. But right now it's still adhering very well. After, you know, this many prints. This plate is removable. It's like, I think it's magnetized onto the hot plate that's underneath, so you can just kind of rip this off and then just slap it back on. You don't want to touch the plate, obviously, as best as you can, because all your finger oils will coat it and plastic won't be sticking. You want the plastic to stick on that bed, because if it doesn't stick, then yeah, you'll end up with a ball of yarn or ball of whatever you call it. It just has to stick to the previous layer, whether the previous layer is the bed or the previous layer is another layer of plastic. So adhesion is very important, as you'll read about. It does this little, what they call a poop thing too, so it'll clean itself. It's like a bunch of extruded nothingness. It'll clean itself here, and then it'll just kind of flick it out here. So that's kind of interesting to watch the process. What else? The smells. PETG smells a little bit. I don't believe all the articles out there that say PETG doesn't smell at all. I have no experience with PLA yet. Probably do that in the future. But PETG does have a slight smell to it. I don't know if it's VOCs or microplastics or whatever. But I do plan, right now I have a window fan going that's just kind of gently drawing air out of the room to the outside. So that's been helpful. Actually, you couldn't do that with the laser cutters, obviously. The fan just out the window, not connected to the laser cutter, that's not going to work. But for this 3D printer, I think it works. It works fairly well to keep fresh air in the room. Obviously, like the laser cutters, you need a source of fresh air coming in also for the fan to draw out of the room. But eventually, I think I'll be building an enclosure, not a fully enclosed enclosure for this, because Bambu says not to enclose this because this is passively cooled, the motherboard down here. But I'll have a hole down there with a fan, like circulating air underneath. There's more holes. You see those? This moves away. Those cooling holes. There's a lot of them on the bottom, so I'll probably have a little fan going on the bottom to give it extra cooling, because it does run a little warm. I don't think extra cooling wouldn't hurt. So yeah, I'll probably build a 3-sided or 4-sided or 5-sided. I don't know if you count the bottom as a side, but open cube on the front, if that makes sense. So there'll be a wall here, a top here, and a bottom holding it elevated off the table so I can draw air with the fan in. But the front will be open, and then I'll have a 6-inch AC Infinity fan, just like the lasers, but not exactly like the laser one. It looks like a tube instead of like a tube with a bump that comes up and then a tube. It's like the really inline ones, because it doesn't need that powerful of a fan to draw out the fumes. So I'll have that connected and going out the window. That's on my left here, to the top. I don't want to create too big of a draft, because I read that if there's too big of a draft, the prints won't adhere, won't print correctly. So I don't want to do that to the prints. But yeah, I do want to enclose it a little bit. That way all the vapors or whatever it may be, microplastics, just kind of stay in the area for it to be gently drawn out of the room. Yeah, I do smell a little bit of plastic. It's very light, but it is definitely noticeable. I don't want to be constantly breathing that stuff in. But yeah, Right here I have, did I talk about the, shoot, I'm just rambling right now, but just wanted to make a video for all the beginners out there, like me. This truly is a beginner machine. This thing is plastic bags I bought just off of Timu. It wraps. Once you're done with this, you can take the filament off, put it in there, suck the air out of it, put a little piece of desiccant in there, or a little package, just so that supposedly PETG likes to suck up water. You don't want this thing to suck up water and be printing, because that'll mess up your prints. So you want to keep everything all super dry. Eventually I'll laser cut that box that'll fit this. I'll laser cut a box. I'll take this off its little spool holder thing into a separate box with rollers on it, with desiccant in it, so it keeps it dry. I do live in I live near a body of water, so I feel like it's a little moist, humid sometimes. Not like Florida humid or whatever, but it gets a little damp. Yeah, so I'll laser cut a filament box for that. You can look up filament dry boxes online. There's a whole bunch of examples out there that people have 3D printed, that there's pre-made options out there. So I'm gonna laser cut my own. Yeah, awesome. Like, I have laser cutters now. I have both the GYKey and the Polar, and now this. I feel like I could just make anything I want. Obviously some things are better made on the laser than on a 3D printer, and some things are better made on 3D printer than laser. So, and I feel like this 180 by 180 workbed is actually probably enough for me for everything that I want to do, like little toys, little adapters. I still have to learn 3D software, but these are all provided SD files that I'm printing right now, and it's been literally plug and play. It's great. I just get up in the morning, let it run something. By lunchtime it's done. This thing will probably finish by lunchtime. After lunch I run another one. It gets done by the late afternoon, and then late afternoon I run another one. Another one's done before I sleep. I try not to leave it on while I sleep, because it's dealing with heat. I don't think it's going to catch on fire, but I don't know. Just as a slight precaution. So yeah, I might make a few more videos on this, but if you're looking to get one of these, I would say this is the time. This thing is very beginner friendly. It's literally plug and play, unless you get a dummy machine or a dud machine, but it's literally plug and play. I hope the support is good if I need it, if I ever need it. And yeah, did I talk about the AMS already? This thing supports 4 colors. You could get that as a separate machine. Also, I didn't get it because I'm only going to be printing one. Sorry, I'm just rambling right now. Sorry if I just said that already. Yeah, I figure I'll just paint stuff. But yeah, it's been good. Probably make more videos in the future. Links below to all the filament I'm using. No issues with Overture, no issues with eSun. I don't think I'm going to have an issue with Sunlu. They're all, I guess, Chinese brands. And everything's been good. All right, until the next one. Bye-bye.